Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Tidal Wave.
Woo! Woo!
Okay, okay.
You do the wave.
Yeah, twice.
Twice. Went back and forth. This is the third level spell for Druid, Sorcerers, Wizards out of the Elemental Evil Player's Companion, page 168. Thank you, D&D Beyond, for that very useful tidbit. Cast time of an action range of 120 feet. Verbal somatic control components. The asterisk being the component you need is a drop of water. So if you're in a desert, tough luck. You conjure a wave of water that crashes down on an area within range. The area can be up to 30 feet long, or up to 10 feet wide, and up to 10 feet tall. Each creature in the area makes a dex save. On a failed save, it takes 48 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone. On a successful, it takes half damage and isn't knocked prone. The water spreads out across... I clicked a link by accident. The water spreads out across the ground in all directions, extinguishing unprotected flames in the area within 30 feet of it, then vanishes. I could have stopped. I didn't need to read that text. I should have just abandoned it there because that's meaningless. So this is a 30-foot long, 10-foot wide, 10-foot tall, instantaneous 48 explosion of water that knocks things prone sometimes.
And puts out fires. If you need, if your house is on fire or the tavern's on fire, this could do something.
Sure. How often has that come up?
Never. Well,
Great. All right.
No. I take that back. I have started a lot of fires in games.
Yeah, but that's you being the fire starter. Normally, the intention is to burn it down, not to put it out. So we can do a quick damage check, right? Like, let's immediately compare this to Fireball. Let's just brush that off. 8d6 does an average of 28 damage, and 48 does an average of 18. So we're 10 damage shy. And what you get in exchange is potentially knocking things prone. And a similar-ish area.
Oh, that's not nothing.
It's not nothing. I think on Sorcerers Wizards, I have a hard time taking this over Fireball. And I think you're not going to often find yourself in spots to have both, because you're just going to default to the one that does more damage, or you're just, I don't have a great time putting multiples of the area effect damage spells on my sheet, especially if I'm level 5 or 6. You just don't have that much room, right?
These two might be the exception, though, because if your Fireball sets everything on fire, then you cast this, put out the fires, and you're doing more damage to the enemies in there, and but being responsible.
I would love you to tell me that Tavern Keeper's going to call you responsible after you blow up the inside of their home and then thrash it with a ton of water.
Talking about maybe in a forest.
Sure.
Or a tavern. I mean, like,
is that worth
it's not going to be happy, but it's not as bad as burning the place down.
I think that is cute. I think that most characters don't care that much about doing putting out the fires they're starting, right? Agnostic of the cute flavor of it. Agnostic of, is this a spell you put alongside Fireball or not? Looking at it on its own, I think on the Druid class, it's a lot more interesting. I think it's a lot more interesting on the Druid class.
They have a vested interest in putting out fires.
That too. They both thematically would like this and don't have Fireball. So that makes it on them a lot more interesting to me, as especially an option that you pair with martial parties that like to be in melee range, because knocking things prone is only really advantageous to melee ranged parties, right?
Yeah.
There's a real consideration that the prone condition will make your rangers and rogues worse if they're attacking at range. If you throw a Tidal Wave at some people and you've got a ranged bard that's, slinging out horrific insults and raining, little bits of spell damage here and there and debuffing. You got a ranger that's firing crossbow expert 4 times around, and you got a rogue that's hiding in the trees with their crossbow. Tidal Wave is dead on your sheet. Like, it's actively helpful to the enemies to be prone so they don't get shot to death. You would normally,
it's not gonna knock everybody down. There's probably a couple people will make the save, and they turn into targets.
Yeah, but I would much rather not have spent a 3rd level spell doing that little damage and not also then be able to take advantage of the prone condition, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, you'll want some melee characters in there.
Yeah. So your party composition, I think, does matter quite a bit whenever you're considering Tidal Wave. I think if you have at least 2 characters in your party that you can shape Tidal Wave around to sort of, you knock some people prone, do a decent chunk of damage, then they get their advantage on attack rolls. You got like a paladin or a fighter or a barbarian in your group, maybe a monk. All that I'm pretty into if we are working with Tidal Wave. If you don't have that,
all right. Well, I mean, are you talking now Sorcerer Druid or Sorcerer Wizard, or are you still talking straight Druid?
I'm still talking straight Druid just because I'm still not that high on it as a Sorcerer Wizard spell, even in the situations where you have those melee ranged parties. The prone condition giving advantage on attack rolls can be good.
Sorcerer Wizard, like we said before, they have Fireball. Druid. Is this the big area of effect damage spell?
Maybe. This is really important. This doesn't take concentration. So on Druid,
Well, I mean,
if you...
it doesn't have a duration, does it? No.
No, that's why it doesn't take concentration.
Oh,
Druids
right, yeah,
really care about their concentration. That's normally where the
Right.
bulk of their power is coming from. So that is to its upside. I'm checking the Druid spell list right now just to see, like, are there any other third level spells of comparable value? You've got, like, Call Lightning. You've got, which is not an AoE damage spell, really. This is kind of the best you got. Like, Sleet Storm is an AoE, like,
That doesn't do
debuff
any
effect.
damage, though.
Doesn't do
No.
any damage, yeah. Erupting Earth, I think, is probably worse than this. It's pretty close.
Well, if
It
the
is three-
prone condition is what you're after, I mean, Sleet Storm, I think, does cover a wider area.
Yeah, but it also makes things not able to see into the area.
That's
so, like,
true. Yeah.
your fighters will have disadvantage for not being able to see their targets,
Right.
stuff like that, right? Well, it'll get mitigated because the targets can't see them. It's a non-factor. I would probably rather have the damage on us than the Sleet Storm effect.
Yeah.
For most fights, that is. Erupting Earth is his main competition, I think, though. 3d12 bludgeoning damage on a failed save. It becomes difficult terrain until cleared away.
How big an area is that?
It's a 20-foot cube, and it's also at 120-foot range. So it's compared to Tidal Wave's 120-foot range. That's, around the same, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just the question is, do you want difficult terrain or knocking things prone? I think you probably want to knock things prone. So I guess Tidal Wave is slightly better. Sure. Okay. As a druid spell, yeah, I'm in. I think you've convinced me. This is kind of the best you get. It's a way that you'll have a melee summoned ally up, maybe. Maybe you got a 4th level summoned beast running around killing things. You go, great, Tidal Wave, knock things prone. Then my, Hawk flies in with advantage on their 2 attack rolls. That seems pretty sweet. Like a pretty easy, decent play pattern for good AoE damage, decent area. Yeah, I'm in.
All right. Glad I could help. Listen,
On, again, Wizard Sorcerer, maybe not. It's probably fine.
But, Fireball's always sitting there.
Yeah, it's really hard to look at a 48 damage spell at 3rd level that it's a mediocre area. Like, it's 30-foot radius sphere is definitely better than the 30-foot long by 10-foot wide, like, channel that this gives. So, yeah, I probably like the Fireball Explosion more. I guess, Fireball's 20-foot radius. Okay, they're comparable. I'm talking myself up a lot on this. I don't hate it.
Yeah, like I feel like I pulled you toward me with the Hellish Rebuke last time, and now I didn't even start with any real opinion on Tidal Wave, but yeah.
10 damage drop is pretty substantial.
Oh, it's
I also just don't like.
yes.
I don't like casting Fireball as a player. I like my spells to do different wacky weird things. I like trying to weaponize different conditions, even if it's suboptimal. I like builds that are like out of left field. Why is that doing that? That's so weird that those rules interact that way. And like Thief Rogue is one of my personal favorites as far as just like building the Alchemist that is decent, but that just chucks Alchemist fire and acid at people. That's where I like to be. That's why I like Warlocks a lot. Is your builds on Warlocks tend to be very off the wall, not necessarily all in on Eldritch Blast. I'll often do like these big utility based builds where I take like Thirsting Blade occasionally, but more often than not, I'm just making the 1-attack roll with a short bow with Hex up and a level dip in Rogue to get my 3d6 damage around, and that being enough, and then cobble together a bunch of other little features. I like those builds a lot, and this feels like it has a home on those kinds of characters. So maybe I like this spell a lot more than I probably should. On your average adventurer, is it that good? On Druids, yes. On everyone else, probably still, I'll just put Fireball or Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, but I mean, all right. Fireball does more damage, true. But sometimes you're going to value the prone condition, and every once in a while, you're going to want to put out some fires.
Sure. That is a really good way to think about it. It's like your main condition is the damage, and then the prone is like, yeah, this will matter to you sometimes. And then, okay, in the narrow window where you need to put out a forest fire in a 30 by 10-foot line, okay, you got it.
Look, all right, you're saying this is never going to come up, but I think it might. I think if your foes are intentionally setting fires, the baddies are running around lighting up the village or whatever, yeah, then you'll appreciate this, or the villagers will at least.
There are a lot of features in this game that have like 3 kinds of text like this, and I tend to rate them pretty highly because the base level is good enough. In a lot of encounters, 48 damage in area for a 3rd level slot is good enough. It has upside that's like, oh, there will be some encounters where this is actually really good. Knocking things prone will make them dash once. That's excellent. Knocking things prone will give your allies on advantage on attack rolls. That can be excellent. That won't be every encounter, but the floor is still fine. And then there's the more niche window where you got okay, this is the once per campaign event that has occurred where we actually care about putting out fire. And that's like, this hits all those check marks as a really cool flexible tool. I'd like it on my character sheet pretty often. Yeah, okay, I'm in. This is good.
All right, one more thing. The prone condition, like if you've got a group of enemies running at you, and like neither fireball nor this is going to take them down in one go. Like being able to knock some of them down is going to change up their strategy a little bit. They can't all come at you at once unless they all hang back and wait for the guys that fell down. That's so it's an area of effect prone, even if you're primarily ranged, I think has a place there. That's
as like
something.
A tool to disrupt movement and like again try and force dashes.
Yeah, well,
I could see it maybe doing something to that effect,
like a filter kind of effect. Like what did I talk about? Like with fear, you know, some people run away. Some people have to make a choice. Oh crap! Are we going to continue coming at these people, or am I going to go back and wait for my friends so we can attack together? In the meantime, they're getting peppered with arrows. Like, I think that's worth something.
I think conceptually that makes a lot of sense. I think tactically on the D&D battle map, that's going to be less apparent. And that's just because there's going to be a lot less like white rooms, a bulk of ogres running at you. And there's going to tend to be buildings and trees and other elements that things are going to be split up more. There are going to be groups of them, but they're like, if 6 things are attacking you and 4 are clumped up and you knock 2 of them prone, the other 2 are still going to engage you, right? They're not going to necessarily change their strategy.
You only have to deal with 2.
Level. Yeah.
Yeah, but then and then you know hopefully you can knock out those 2
usually
before the other 2.
If they're within 20 feet of you, that's not the case. And if they're within, if they have to dash anyway, and the dash plus 20 feet is still enough, they'll still be able to engage you. So there is windows where this doesn't do anything, even if you do knock them prone. They'll still take the same quantity of actions to engage you. But there will be some instances where you'll be like, okay, those 2 now have to dash, the other 2 don't. So we're going to split up. We're taking less damage this round. That's decent. That's decent.
All right. Tidal Wave. What do you think?
Probably it's a 3. I don't think this is the competition for 3rd level spells that do area effect damage are steep. I think I would put this on a lot of druids. I think going forward, having like had this conversation with you, I'm like, yeah, I'm in. I want this on my druids more often than not. On sorcerers, wizards, where the competition's a lot steeper for ways to spend 3rd level spell slots to do area effect damage, 10 is a lot. Like the difference of 10 damage is really substantial. So I think I'm probably gonna prefer more bigger, like just take fireball on my sheet than take the niche cool other fun stuff that I'd rather spend my actions on later, or I don't know. I have a harder time justifying it on those particular characters, but it's still probably not the end of the world if you want to shake things up. Like if you want a utility flexible option, if you're tired of casting fireball, this will do enough of that job while also giving you some fun extra play patterns to explore and have fun with.
Yeah, I think I would be doing that kind of exploring. For me, this is getting a 4. I've talked myself up on this during this video, and I'm excited about it now. Go Tidal Wave.
We continue to have just like, yeah, these are fine spells today. We're just going through them.
Yep.
Commenters, look back through our last couple of videos. You're going to be like, wow, they're just like pretty happy with most of these now. Tim and Bob are in good moods.
Chill. All right. Well, let us know what you think down in the comments. What do you think about Tidal Wave? Other than that, thank you for watching. Sam, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.